Do you want
I'll
to
do the roll call today.
Okay.
Thank you. Committee member Beard,
Present.
member Hamburg,
Here.
member Martino,
Here.
member Pioneer, and member Jensen are absent, and Chair Prescott.
Here.
Thank you.
All right, pledge of allegiance. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, do we need to approval of agenda?
Yes, please.
So we need the approval of the agenda as presented. Do we have someone for that? And we have a second?
Max?
All in favor?
Aye.
Can you say aye? Thank you.
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
All right, so we are going to be, I think you've got the list there of what we're going to go over. I do want to make a couple of comments, and I want to keep it as my glass half full as possible, because just the way I am, and you should all know that by now. But there was some concern, no names, but just, I don't know if it's just the city, or if it's the town, or if it's us, whatever.
Village.
Village. And I don't know what it is, but IDK, I think we have to be careful on what is being said outside the committee. They're hearing things that they're not liked. They've had phone calls to the staff and asked them a lot of questions, and Scott feels that he should be answering those. I did spend some time with Scott. The good news is, you know, it's one-on-one, and we talked about his presentations and how long they were, and he's going to shorten them. And I think you'll find in this package, I talked a little bit more depth about budgets, which we have expressed to him. So I just want to make sure, I like to be, if there's something, someone says something, I'm just bringing it up. But we shouldn't really be talking about IDK or anything else unless we're talking to Scott and giving it in a very sort of half glass full type of feedback to him. I think he can take that. I think that we can have a working relationship. After all, we did approve to go to June the 30th. So it's whatever's is done, and that's it. So I'd like to just make sure we're all trying to make sure we're not doing anything outside this committee, because I think the committee, I want to be, because I'm the chair, of integrity, and that's important to me. So I hope you all feel the same way.
Yeah.
And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, Barry, and I agree that we have to support them. We have a contract with them for the next 6 months, and we all agreed on hiring them, and so now we have to support them. And I don't say we have to continue and make recommendations for them to continue, but right now, for the next 6 months, they're our marketing.
We can ask tough questions. Don't take it the wrong way. I'm not saying we just
I'm
roll
saying,
over.
yeah,
I don't want to rubber stamp anything, but I just want it to be with him more than everyone else around him. That's all.
And just to clarify for everybody where we are in the process of the contract approval, so your recommendations to extend the contract for another 6 months through June 30 were taken to the council. The city council authorized me to negotiate with IDK. It's in front of you because you were the body advising the city on the content of the contract that you would like to see for the city. And then whatever recommendations you make today will go back to council this Monday for final approval.
Right. And this meeting is really just two things, and then we're going to get out of here because we've committed to an hour. And that is, we want to go, we had this meeting to give IDK some ideas for next year so that they can budget it and move forward with it once we give that recommendation. So that's what this meeting is about, and I think the quick thing I want to do before we leave is talk about upcoming, well, it won't be until January, meetings and what time, because there's we've got a morning and we've got a nighttime challenge to talk about, but we should spend a little time talking about that.
So you-
And then we're done today. Then next full meeting, we'll go over, there are some ideas on the, you know, different directions of this board and other people, but that would be for the full meeting.
So you're moving item 3 to go right now? Is that what we're doing?
No,
We're gonna go to item 2 right now. That's
Oh,
the
okay.
committee to have a special meeting. That's what this was for. And open up the floor, some ideas of what we're gonna give IDK so that they've got 6 months. They need some ideas from us on what we want them to work on. Does that make sense?
and so I have distributed today, and it's in front of you. It's also available to the public as it became available to us. There is a very short staff report, just explaining where we are, and a proposal from IDK, Cox and Marvel, just in a spreadsheet type of format, which shows some ideas that came up with as far as their recommendations for what you might consider for the next 6 months. The total recommended budget and expectation from the city council was $300,000, just like you recommended. This attachment shows $375,000, and it's done that way just to give you some flexibility and some options as far as some of the things that you might consider including or excluding from the contract. And then the last attachment is just the existing contract, just as an example, the one that they're working on right now, which was July 1st through December 31. So that's the one that's expiring.
This in the back page
yeah.
is that, okay.
Yeah, so that's an old contract that's expiring.
Oh, I see.
It's just to give you, if you want to reference, you know, what.
This is what, we got this in the beginning, correct?
Yes.
This thing, okay.
Yeah.
That's the same one, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the real true new materials is the spreadsheet that you see with the blue and the purple colors there, which is a proposal prepared by Scott as an example that you might consider today. And I see Scott is on Zoom with us. If you have any questions.
And if I may, I can just quickly sort of say, so based on our feedback and our conversation from last time, you know, I understood and heard very clearly that this committee wanted and deserved a little bit more input in exactly what we were, you know, what we were doing at kind of a high level. So the way I structured this, I hope it takes a step in that direction. So essentially, I carved out, you know, what it costs for us to continue just doing what we've been doing in terms of social media, digital media marketing, PR, and all of those elements. And I put those together sort of at the top. And then in the spirit of transparency, I added basically an expense bucket for, you know, if we bring social media influencers or occasionally we bring writers. For example, we had Access Hollywood out here doing a piece that aired nationally on Friday. And we needed to pay for her hotel room in order to accommodate that. So we've been paying for all of that stuff out of pocket. We don't go to any of the businesses and ask for anything for free for this. But again, for transparency, I've sort of highlighted that. And then for the rest, we basically said, well, we can either do one of two things. We can either do 2 events, one in Q1, one in Q2, and we can work together to come up with exactly what those are, and our creative team can ideate and present, you know, some proposals there for what those events will actually look like and allow you guys to shape those. Or we could do one event and then do, you know, I've heard discussions over the last couple of months about a desire to have more traditional media, you know, be it a billboard or a, you know, ads in magazines or local newspaper ads or somebody else, some of the other things. So I added that as an option. So we can either do 2 events or we can do 1 event and then add all of those traditional media. And all of that is out of house, that spend. So for example, you know, Yule Fest this year is a perfect example. You know, we plan to spend $72,000 on Yule Fest. 100% of that money is spent out of house. None of that's spent internally. All of that money is, you know, $10,000 goes to Santa, and you know, there's money that goes to the guys that rent the lights to decorate the park. There's money that we purchased on behalf of the city, you know, Christmas decor and stuff that the city will own for the future. So So the way I broke down those events is if you look, there's $138,000 in that budget that is available to you guys to work with us to figure out how to spend externally. It's not our money. It's not money that would be spent with us. It's money that we would then spend out of house to actually produce and develop whatever those concepts are. So that's how we broke it down. Barry, I appreciate your comment that I could be a little long-winded, so I won't go any deeper than that. But that's how we structured, sort of this proposal.
Don't worry, I've been told that many a time, so. Too long-winded. All right, well, can we start out with some discussions on like quarter one, quarter two? Do we want to do one or two?
Well, let's talk about quarter one first.
Yep.
I'd like to see if you can go back to Taste of Solvang in quarter one. Some might say it's quarter two, but I'd like to see if we can make sure that's a major event for the quarter. In either quarter one or quarter two. I think that's brought a lot of people in.
What's feeling about quarter one or quarter two for Taste of Sylvan?
I'd like to see it in March. I don't know how that quarter falls, but March is the.
When is the
That'll be-
restaurant week?
So usually
January.
January, last 2 weeks of January,
January.
Shelby does it.
So we still
So-
keep that separate,
March would be quarter one.
yeah.
And what'd you say you'd like to see in March?
Yeah, just the week, I'm gonna tell you this, just from the 15th falls, so somewhere like the Friday, like the 18th, 19th, and 20th, somewhere for that, but just not over St. Patrick's weekend, or like, St. Patrick's falls the middle of the week, so it's not gonna matter now. So we can either have it the week before, on the 13th or the 20th, it's not gonna matter. They just never want it to fall on that weekend, because they're already busy.
Any thoughts, 18th, 19th, 20th?
Sounds good to me. I mean, I don't see anything interrupting.
John?
The only thing I was thinking, what's going on for Valentine's weekend? Are we gonna be promoting anything like hotel packages, anything going on for that?
Oh, that's February, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's in quarter one.
It's a
Yeah.
Monday.
Have we ever done anything
It's a
before?
Monday,
Falls on Monday.
It's a Monday this year.
I
That'd be
guess-
horrible.
not much.
Not really, I don't think we've done too much of that, have we, in the past?
We've
That I've
never done, we have.
No, it's only because President's Weekend is that same weekend, so it's
Yeah,
going to build on
President's
top
weekend will
of
be
it.
in there too.
Yeah, so we've left that alone. I mean, at least I've done it in the past.
I think President's Weekend's gonna be the 19/20/21, because the President's Day is 21st, which is a Monday.
Yeah.
Right.
A week after Thanksgiving, or
Valentine's.
Valentine's Day.
Well, unless
So
we're
that's
doing
two
a-
different weekends. I don't know what we could,
Unless we're doing a ferry parade, then I don't know what else to make a big festival out of that. You could do something in the hotels, I mean, if they wanted to do a lover's weekend, I don't know. But
It's like it
should that
says,
be
Monday.
something that'd be separate? And
Pretty
again,
much, President's weekend pretty much takes care of itself.
Yeah, it does.
So that President's
Yeah.
Weekend, he just said it's the week after, right?
correct.
Yeah, it's the
Right, So this is
23rd.
really, I think the question is, we've never done anything for Valentine's, we've done a lot of things, this could be something, it's on a Monday, maybe that's the perfect time to try and push up and see whatever we want to do, because
Yeah.
it's midweek and it's quiet.
I don't know what
Don't have to do too
Scott,
much.
I don't know what Scott could do for us
Yeah.
on that particular weekend. That's more a
Scott,
hotel,
do you have any
restaurant.
ideas?
Yeah, we wanted to work with you guys to sort of understand what you wanted, whether it was like two kind of showstoppers or just the one. But what we can do is I can work, once we're done with this call, I can work with our creative team, and we can quickly turn something around, to Commissioner Beard's point earlier. We can turn something around with a very detailed discussion of how we intend to spend that $69,000 for that event. And I think, we could definitely do something that would move the needle, over Valentine's Day. We talked.
That wouldn't be one of the big ones.
No, I wouldn't think, I mean, you could come up with an idea or two for us and throw it at us,
Yeah.
but I don't know what really we could do.
Taste
I
of
think-
Solvang would be the big
I
one.
think Taste of Solvang is
Yeah,
where we
I agree.
focus our area.
Let's
And
concentrate on that.
internally, that was kind of what we were thinking for that Q1 event, is doing Taste of Solving, bringing that back in a big way, and punching up the creative a little bit and making sure that we're leaning into that. And then, for Q2, one of the things, we've not spent a lot of time ideating yet, but one of the things we talked a lot about for last year was doing like a big King's table type event for the fall, or for the spring rather, and literally running the table. We'll see whether Copenhagen is still open or closed, but we could do a King's table sort of down the middle of the street and invite many of the restaurants, and the chocolatiers can do dessert, but restaurants can do each course and do a big King's table type event. And there's a company I'm sure Tracy's familiar with called Outstanding in the Field, and we do something very similar to that, and those seem to do really, really, really well. So we could do something similar in Q2, but we agree Taste of Solving would be the Q1 event. And I think time-wise, with it being those dates, I think we're in good shape now to be able to bring back like a creative proposal and budget for that, for you guys to then tweak and approve, and launch marketing for that in early February.
I'd like to bring up something, and again, I'm just throwing it out, it's brainstorm. But, Q2, we're coming out of March, going into April, spring forward, and it's sort of, it's kicking off a season in Solvang, and maybe we could come up with something new to all around the spring. So it's that excitement of, Easter's around the corner, this is around the corner, the vineyards, it's getting warmer, it's going to get lighter at night, and do sort of a, maybe something around that. So I haven't really gone much further, I was just giving an idea.
Yeah.
But spring, just spring.
And I like that idea. It's just that we have Memorial Day weekend. It's another big, huge weekend here in the
Yep.
valley. So that would be the last weekend of May. So we'd probably let
Oh,
you to
yeah, I
make
think
sure.
before that.
Before that. So sometime between March.
I think
and,
April.
So if you did something there.
That would be the second
Yeah,
quarter.
Easter.
Yeah, and then we have Easter weekend.
Easter is
And
the
that's a whole
18th.
week, and then you have, all the kids are out of college too.
Yeah,
So there's
yeah.
like that whole month of April.
Spring break lasts, and I'm not sure how it's gonna go down, but some years it's last 4 to 5 weeks,
Weeks in
others
a
it's
row.
just 2 or
Whether
3.
it's universities, the high schools,
Yeah.
the
Right.
mid schools.
I think,
I
I'm not
have
sure.
that down, but that's in the second quarter. Aren't we concentrating on the first quarter right
No,
now? Did we finish
we're off to
the
the-
No, we got Taste of Solvang
Yeah.
for the first quarter.
That's all,
And a
right.
small thing for Valentine's, we're just gonna
Okay.
throw out maybe.
Okay, then we're in the second quarter.
Second
Yeah,
And
quarter.
spring break is the big one.
yeah, spring break goes for, like I say,
Yeah.
So if we do
2 to
something,
3 to 4 weeks.
Now,
we can do
there's
something
where
during that time,
we
although
need to-
Easter is in that month too, so,
It's the third weekend.
yeah.
But,
Yeah, and what I like about, if I may, what I like
Yeah.
about, doing something spring breaky is that if you look at those key demos that we've identified kind of repeatedly, you look at Danish Days and Yulefest. Yulefest targets families and those who want to travel, with spirituality or seasonality. And then you look at Danish Days, and that skews a little bit older. And then, some families. Taste of Solving, I think, hits that younger sort of epicurious traveler.
yeah,
I like the idea of doing something spring breaky because it targets that middle ground that we're not aggressively targeting through any of the other 4 major events. So I like doing something around that and being able to talk to that audience. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't want anybody to think that we're trying to turn Solving into Cancun, but I think we can do I think we can do a really elegant and high-end sort of event around that time that targets young couples.
yeah,
Yeah,
I sort of like that.
I personally think spring break, just leave it, it's a natural for Solvang. People come here throughout that week, Easter, I think we need to focus on weeks that we don't have things.
Okay.
And that's my personal thought.
Right.
Spring break pretty
And there's
much
also a lot of local
builds
people
itself, because college is school, grade school, and so forth. I would rather go later in, the quarter.
How about, I don't know, kicking off the growing season for vineyards? Is that something we,
Well, that's
to
what
the older crowd?
well, they have a save the date already for the Garage Tour Festival Southern Exposure, February 25th and 26th at Veterans Hall. It's already on a website.
Who's that?
I don't know. That's why I want to bring it up, because it's already on there. And have Barry.
And what is garage?
I have no idea, I just was looking
Well,
to
that
see.
doesn't affect, I don't.
It's
it
in
wouldn't-
Solvang.
1745, it's in the Memorial Hall.
It's in Memorial Hall.
Okay,
Can
well,
you
Southern
tell us about it
Exposure.
then?
What is it called again?
GARAGISTE Wine Festival.
Gastrique.
I think
French.
it's a 2-day, it's inside the Veterans Hall.
Right.
Yeah, we've done it before.
That's the extent of the information.
So
that
we already have an
they
event
just-
going on in February,
Yeah, but we're still trying to get into Q2 here.
I know, but I,
Yeah, that's just a good point.
just
And-
trying to ask
Yeah, I
questions.
know.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
So nobody knows anything about this? You don't know it?
No, I
Tracy, you
know
don't?
nothing
Scott?
about it.
Scott doesn't have anything to do with it, they reserve space in
yeah,
the city.
we've done cooking up there. It's just wine
Heard of
tasting,
it,
basically.
that's,
Scott, if you do something in Q2, and I'm just thinking, you know, everybody wants it, if we do something, you know, if we can involve maybe, I don't know, seeing the motion picture people, like, you've had people coming in, if you promote it and come back, and I'm not trying to say you were saying like a Valentine's Lovers Weekend or something, and you know, there's some way that you
That's-
have to film
okay,
people,
you
no,
want-
I'm not
okay.
saying to do it in Q1, I'm saying to do something in Q2 that would be fun like that there's a crossover promotion. Because we keep getting film people wanting to do stuff here, and I don't know if there's something that we can do with them to help promote it and make that splash, whatever item that is that's for Q2, to work with them. I just think that really would help bring the volume of people here.
Yeah, now, are you referring to production, like, so film production companies coming in to film something? Like
Well,
partnering with that,
if-
or the finished product?
If you had something that was a promoted thing, then you let them know about it, that it's going on, and then they're gonna start showing up. You know, bloggers are coming in, a blogging group coming in and wanting to see what it is and help
Right.
expose us. in some
Yeah,
way.
yeah, yeah, right, that's obviously the idea behind the events to begin with.
That's it.
Here's another stupid one. Come up with a stupid.
Throw some on the wall, let it
How
stick.
about a fam trip?
Yeah, I mean, that's not oh, Jesus, sorry.
Was that me?
My phone started ringing in my ear, sorry. No, I think that's a great idea. You know, and we are doing a lot of those throughout. I think they're getting increasingly difficult. You know, we had a hotel that offered 4 nights for 10 bloggers and like writers and stuff last week. And they didn't, you know, we have the rooms available, and we reached out to our network of folks, you know, across bloggers and across reporters and such, and we could not get them to come because everything was starting to open back up again. So all of these international fam trips that have been on hold were starting to happen again. But I don't think that's a terrible idea, you know, being able to throw some budget at that, you know, I like that.
I think, you know, if you look at spring break, a lot of that's local driven. We really want to find a quiet time as the spring kicks off and it's still slow midweek, where the LA market maybe comes up here for something. And,
Yeah.
and maybe it's nothing in, like, we have to put on something, but to get them excited about coming up here, staying and going wine tasting and doing some different things and targeting a slow week in April.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, you know, I think for the purposes of today, if we stay as high level as possible and say, look, do we want 2 big events? So then, you know, if you look at the calendar, you know, we've got Taste of Solving back, we have something happening in Q2, we have Danish Days in Q3 and Yule Fest in Q4, and so that kind of recreates the calendar. Or do we only think we need one strong, you know, event and something else towards the second half? And we don't necessarily, I don't think, have to make that decision today because the money doesn't come to us anyway until later in the year, and it's not, you know, it's already in the overall budget as being out of house spend, so we can sort of spend it however we want, you know.
Yeah.
So I think we have a little bit of time to
Okay.
figure that out. You know, if you decide today, hey, we want 2 events, then we can go through the next TAC meeting and come to you with some ideas around timing and what we think those would be. Or if we leave this meeting today and you're like, yeah, we only really want 1, and we want, you know, maybe we want billboard advertising, even though, you know, we've shown that doesn't make a lot of sense, you know, to spend money on today. But maybe that's something that's really important to you guys, then, you know, we structure it that way instead. But I think we can stay relatively high level for today and sort of make that decision. And if it is, hey, we agree with you, we think we need to do 2 events, then this next meeting will come to you with some dates and some suggestions and concepts.
Yeah.
I like that idea very
Yeah.
much. I think we got Q1 with the taste
Taste of
of
Solvang.
Solvang. And I'm really, personally, in the third quarter, I really think the Stomp was good. I enjoyed that when we put it. I thought it was great
Yeah,
in
too.
town.
Yeah,
And,
it
and
was-
so,
That was
but that's
Because
it
the-
might even be Q4. I'm not sure. October, somewhere right there. Isn't that Tracy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do we
but
do
it
that?
was a good, sexy event, people liked it,
Yeah.
got a
Yeah.
lot, I mean, having those wine barrels out there
Oh,
was unbelievably
yeah,
amazing.
yeah. So,
And I
Photo
think-
ops, everything.
I think Q2 is, you're right, you got spring break, you got Easter, you got so much going
Mother's
on.
Day, Father's
We're just
Day.
gonna,
yeah.
it's just gonna plug up the
So
arteries.
let's focus on Q1 and the taste of solving for now, and then. But I am interested in seeing billboard purchase. Where did that come from? Somebody say that to you? That must have been
It's come up quite,
Ben Olson?
quite a bit. I don't think it was him actually, but no, it's come up quite a bit that they wanted, you know, just in general comments that have been made to us via email. People have said that, you know, they wanted to see us buying billboards. I think the old Tourism Advisory Committee, that came up quite a bit. And we talked a lot about it, about why, you know, statistically
Yeah,
it just didn't make sense.
Yeah, why, I didn't hear why it doesn't make sense. Your numbers, your people say that, or statistics say, or whatever, somebody
Yeah.
says,
Yeah, like I'll have to dig up, we did the research for it when it first came up, I think a year ago or so. I'll dig that research up and send it back. But the billboards that were available for the money, it was like something like $2,000 or $3,000 a month.
yeah, we
And
had
for the
one.
money,
We had one in the,
Yeah.
you know, on the way into Solvang from the
Mhm.
south, and the casino believes in it. P. Sue Patterson
Right.
did, but that's not working, but the casino sure believes in them.
yeah, I think, you know, the casino has obviously got a different objective than we do, right? We're trying to encourage people to come and spend the night, and, you know, I think, yeah, it does make sense if our target is increasing, sales tax revenue with day trippers, then.
I think,
yeah.
I'd like to say, the billboard, you know, it needs to go up sort of before like Taste of Solvang and help promote what we're promoting. This is such a big drive market. People do see these billboards, I look at them all the time.
Yeah, but changing them is cost prohibitive. I mean, we
Well,
used to have
it's-
one, and it was $3,000 a month, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And to change it is a major,
Yeah, because their license in the city of Bealton, I believe, owns the billboards with the visitor center there with Kathy. And she has a lot of control over that, and Shelby tried to
Yes.
wanna purchase that and he couldn't for,
Okay.
I would have loved, I saw that on that, and I said, we
Yeah.
need a billboard there, and Buellton got it, I mean, back
there's
in.
only so
yeah.
many billboards
Right.
left that
Yeah.
are grandfathered
Taste of
in.
Solvang?
So-
By the way, I don't know
Yeah.
if you, Scott, I don't know if you heard this today, but Solvang, the St. Anne's Valley got recognized as one of the top 27 cities to come visit
Oh,
in the
boy.
United States. So.
By who?
It was national, it was on national news this morning.
Yeah.
Was it on the,
I've seen it.
So they're for 2022. So we can really make a splash by doing some of these, whether it's a billboard, whatever we decide to come up with in each of these quarters, I think we can make a.
but isn't it pretty hard to get a billboard right now, Scott?
Travel and Leisure voted SYB number 38 out of 100 places in the world
Oh, in the world. Huh?
you must visit. I mean, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
So there's your billboard.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question on the Taste of Solvang? Do we own the name still?
I don't know the answer to that question. I'd have to research that and figure it out.
Okay.
Okay?
Hey, Scott, one other thing, and before SCBB closed, the one thing I wanted to say is, We tried to do a film festival here
Mhm.
at one point where anybody could come in and would be a center for film festivals. I know in the past, a lot of places, San Luis Obispo, Santa Barbara.
You don't have a theater.
Yeah, those places have,
But
those places have one thing that we don't, which is a ton of space. And we even looked at, because obviously Daniel Lair worked for us for a little while and was a member or president or something of the Central Coast Film Society. And so we really looked at like, how would we do that in Lot 72? And then the gentleman that owns Space VR was really interested in doing it as well. And so really the only place that it made sense to get the volume that we would need to justify the expense was out on Lot 72. But then by the time we sort of grade it, get a balloon, to show the movie, get the audio up, it became cost prohibitive when we started looking at how many cars we would need to have. And then of course, we don't want to upset the locals who already think there's too much traffic by bringing in, 100 or 200 cars to come and park and watch a movie. So I agree with you. I think it'd be cool, but it would have to be much more boutique, where we would need to, look at some of the function spaces and some of the hotels and do like 10 or 15 person showings. But again, by the time we look at pricing all that out, the tickets would have to be cost prohibitive in order to make money.
okay.
Alexander, you wanted to say something?
Oh yeah, thank you. I just wanted to ask about some events, maybe such as Valentine's Day, be specifically focused on locals, where they'd be lower budget, and would just be trying to get locals in the middle of the week into Solvang when you don't have the same tourists from outside of town, maybe a youth event during the week, something like that. I don't know if that's something you guys could think about doing.
Yeah, and I think that's a great topic for this board, or this body to take up, is that, we've been operating under the assumption that we are responsible for sort of that outside tourism marketing and not necessarily like creating experiences for locals. That's been a focus of Rec and Park and the work that Jenny's been doing in creating, activities. That said, if this body wants to shift our focus a little bit to that, I'm happy to do it. I think that, there's certainly opportunity there.
I honestly, Alexander, I think that's Tracy's job to get the locals in, to come in, and then the hotels and restaurants to put on a Valentine's dinner and get the local, young people in. I mean, we could throw it. Valentine's dance at the Memorial Hall for young people, but I think I'm not sure that's in his scope of work to be. He's not supposed to be focused on locals, right? You're supposed to be focused on getting people in town from out of town.
That's been my understanding.
Yeah,
but
it's an idea.
Again, you're the body that can change that.
Yeah, I mean, but that's a great idea. You need to work with that, Scott, or Alexander, and see if we can't get something going for the Valentine's Day with the hotel. I'm sure.
Well, we
you're going to have.
usually sell out, and we sell out for dinner.
Yeah.
I mean, Christmas is sold out already.
Yeah,
Right.
it doesn't have to be Valentine's Day, but just having the ability to test things on a smaller scale with locals, lower budget, and then saying in a future year, we like this, now let's bring tourists from outside the area, and knowing that this theme of event works. That's
Well,
something
Alexander,
like-
and none of the locals want to come here on the weekend.
Yeah, that's why in the week
They hate being here on the weekend, so to your point, it's
But yeah,
it's
that's,
a
I
way
mean,
of
we'll
getting something going on.
focus on
during
that.
the day.
Tracy, that's just up Tracy's wheelhouse doing, getting the locals in.
It is?
Well, yeah, isn't it?
No, I think
Business local.
mine is business, I'm part of the business community.
Okay.
Okay, that's my,
But Tracy, you're gonna be doing the commercials now, aren't you? To bring in tourists?
we
You're
only,
running commercials right now.
only for the month of December and January.
Oh, okay,
And we stretched it till the end of January.
okay. You stop in the end of
We
January.
stopped January 30th, our contract ends, and we bought our airtime, yeah.
Barry, can you ask Scott, does he have a calendar from SYVB?
Well, you can ask him.
Oh, okay. Oh, it was open, okay. Well, that's the SCVB, or, come on, say yes.
SYVVA.
Yes,
Visit SYB?
visit SYV. Did they give you a calendar of anything, so we're not landing on top of any of their weekends or something?
I haven't got the calendar from them yet, but I have a meeting with them the first week in January to sort of go over what we intend to do over the next 6 months and, you know, establish that sort of collaborative model for how we can work together over the next 6 months. So I spoke with Shelby at length a couple of days ago, and he and Daniel and I are meant to meet that first week in January.
All right,
Good, that's great.
We'd love to
Then
know.
we're good.
There's nothing on social media for Restaurant Week right now. So there's nothing out there on Restaurant Week at this point for 2022.
Who usually did that?
But
That was-
Shelby always
Danielle
did.
does that, right?
Yeah,
Shelby.
and I looked on their site, everything.
We'll have to talk to him
So-
about
Oh,
that.
we'll have to talk to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll talk.
They
So,
just hired a new social media manager, Brenda Ball.
We hired Brenda, yes.
Well, if you're meeting them the first week of January, Scott, could you ask them if there's any social media going on for Restaurant Week?
Yes,
The whole
absolutely.
deal.
I'll make a note of that.
yeah,
Don't mind, you're meeting.
their
them.
whole, you know, their whole plan for that would be good to know.
What else for the first 2 quarters? Are we gonna just go with taster Solvang and then wait for some
Wait for
feedback,
some
think
ideas from
about
Scott,
it?
yeah.
Because I think we're saying that quarter 2 is a little bit too, there's so much going on.
There's so much going
It's
on,
like-
yeah.
Yeah, so I think what will be helpful for me and probably the council is just making sure that, you know, you feel comfortable with the way that we want to structure, that we are recommending structuring the next 6 months, so that, you know, as we go down the path, we kind of have these buckets established and we can work together with this board to sort of tweak within the event buckets, the Q1, Q2 buckets, and then, you know, if we get to a point we decide that it doesn't make sense to do something in Q2, like that, you know, it's no different than, I wrote a check for $50,000 back to this city from our first contract because we wanted to establish a fund for local nonprofits to be able to get money from the city. So, you know, at the end of the day, like it's also not a situation where we have to spend, you know, if it doesn't make sense to do an event in Q2, we've identified that $69,000, and if we get into February or March and this body is like, yeah, let's do something different, we have the ability to do it. But I think for the purposes of today and going into Monday and you know, just making sure that you guys feel comfortable with this bucket and the way that we've structured the next 6 months.
Yeah, so I would say in order to get to Monday, I would just like to get some clarity that you are all in agreement with sort of the top portion of the contract. So where we're talking about the social marketing, PR, or marketing, guest services, client management, that those buckets are good. And then I think I'm hearing that you're pretty much well landed on Q1. As we structure the contract language itself, you know, we'll put into that some information on, you know, some timelines as to when this will come back to this body and then to council if needed for approval. And then IDK obviously needs some time to execute that event. And then we can leave, if you don't have a decision on Q2, we can leave that language pretty broad in terms of
The
coming
only
back.
thing I'd say about Q2, I think that includes June. The last 2 weeks of June seem to be pretty busy. What is that? Is that when school goes out? What's that, graduation?
Yeah,
Yeah.
graduation's
But the
always
first
about
2 weeks are
17th.
usually slow, I think. you know.
Yeah.
So if we do anything, first 2 weeks of June may be a good time, because I know we're usually dead and most of everything
Yeah,
is
and the last
quiet.
2 weeks will be.
And the last
crush.
2 weeks are
We're gonna
busy. so-
crush.
But that is a
Crush it.
slower period, the first 2 weeks.
Provided we're not going through Delta Chroma,
Stop.
whatever.
Yeah, and just to clarify then, if Q2 is just gonna be around event type of ideas or other activities, then just to be clear in the language of the contract that we will not be considering the billboards, PR buy and digital ad buy, if we can just get that
Yeah.
clear with you.
Not yet.
So-
Well, did we?
Repeat that, Roger?
So the way Scott has structured this
Right.
Proposal was at the end, the last 2 buckets is either Q2 event or the optional media buy. So he basically put 75,000 into each one of those categories. The total value of the contract should come up to 300,000.
Right.
So he put in an additional 75 so that you could have some options in terms of what direction you wanna go. So I think if you are certain that you don't think that, say, billboard PR buy, digital buy is needed as of today, then we can leave the language of the contract that it's going to be some kind of
Well, I think
event or.
you could disclude the billboard purchase, but PR buy and digital ad buy, I'm not sure we should get rid of that in there yet.
I
You know,
agree.
What's the
digital-
difference between the upstairs then, can I ask?
The what?
Up here on the PR marketing up top, where it's the same thing, the difference. It says, aren't we digital buying up at the top too on PR marketing?
I guess this would be for additional.
No, so I think Scott can explain, and we can't hear you.
Let me
There you go.
unmute. There we go. Sorry about that. I was actually eating a very, very, very late lunch, so I apologize for turning off my video. So the top is covering our actual staff expenses, which again, we've never highlighted those. We've always kind of baked those into everything else we were working on. So we're trying to be as transparent as possible. So the PR marketing strategy and weekly updates with PR placements, this is all the work that we're doing and have been doing for 2 years that's generating all of that free publicity that we've been working on the PR side. And on the social side, this is the strategy document that you saw that we continue to update and work through. And then also all of the work that social team is working on a monthly basis. So that's what the costs up top are, our actual staff costs. What we've never done, or what we've done, but we've never highlighted it, is we've never actually shown what, if anything, we're spending on any PR buys or digital ad buys or out-of-home marketing. Everything we've done to date has been earned media or earned PR. So we're getting, through our work, we're getting these free hits back to us. We could do PR buys. For example, in 2020, I spent $7,000 to place solving with Buellton and BSYB in the Westways advertising, right? You guys saw that Chinese ad that we did in LA that cost like $1,000. We've always paid for these things, but never highlighted them, and separated them out. So we just wanted to be super clear in this contract, like what we're spending out of house and what is being, is our actual staff costs. So everything you see up on top are our staff costs, and then everything else below, the $140,000 for events, that's all money being spent outside of us. We're not retaining that money. Same thing with the $75,000. If you choose not to do a Q2 event and instead want a PR buy or digital ad buy, we'd recommend about a $25,000 PR buy and about a $25,000 digital ad buy. And this would be for fan trips or for actual advertising across, for example, Tiny Beans was one that we did at Christmas time in 2019. I think I spent $5,000 or $7,000 on that. Or running Facebook ads or Instagram ads or things like that. So that would be the digital ad buy. But to date, we've either not done it, which we haven't for the majority of our time, or the few months that we did do it, we just baked it into other parts of the agreement rather than call it out. So here we're just being hyper transparent about what we're doing.
And then Scott, one other question. What are the hours for the visitor center going at these days? Times?
Here. The visitor center is a separate agreement, and I believe it's 9:30 to 5:30. I'd have to go back and look at that one. Hang on, if you give me 30 seconds, I'll have it open.
Sure, take your time. Zena has other things for us or other things to say.
So I think, Scott has explained that the first bucket, the marketing, is actually what they are doing on daily, weekly basis as far as the social media management. You have some expenses there for hotel. Those are the people that they may place here or their travel. You have the guest services, which is your essentially management of any events that other organizations are putting together. So any event that's over 1,000 people in attendance goes through IDK, and that's proposed in this contract to continue to be that way. Smaller events are processed within the city staff ourselves. And then they have the account management, that's basically Scott, and the meetings that we have. We meet weekly. The TAC will be meeting monthly. I don't necessarily think that we necessarily need to do council monthly. It's probably going to be quarterly. since we have this body now. And then the Q1, I think there's definitely a consensus that that's taste of solving, and then essentially after that budget, you have 75,000 left. And if there is not a decision how that's spent today, then we can just be flexible and build in some language for that, that will come back to both TAC and council for, final decision making on how that bucket is spent at a later date.
Does everybody understand that?
Yeah, I'm gonna make a motion that we take January, February on it's called the first quarter event of what we do for Taste of Solvang, as Scott has presented. And I think the next meeting in January, they can come back with some ideas, and we can come back with some ideas for the second quarter for events, or do we wanna go into the options? But I think we accept the budget as is at this time, minus what the second quarter is of what we need to be doing on events. Does that make sense?
Yep.
You made that, I'll second it, I guess. Or is that something we gotta vote on, or?
Yeah,
There's a first and a second.
Yeah.
I'll just call out your names. Member Jensen,
Yes?
Member Tracy Beard,
Yes.
Member Hendrick,
Yes.
Member Prescott,
Yeah.
Member Martino,
Yes.
and Member Grenier.
Yes.
Okay, so it passes 6-0, thank you. Okay, so we'll take your advice to council and prepare some, Scott will be in touch with you and we'll get ready for Monday night.
All right.
Great, thank you. Happy Christmas, everyone.
All right,
Scott?
thank you, Scott.
Thank you,
Scott?
Oh.
You didn't answer my question, Scott?
We didn't get a question answered.
Anyways, that's fine,
Oh, yeah.
I can go directly to him. I have his number.
Well, I guess the other question is, because I wanted to talk about the visitor center, there's something in front of it right now. So
That's
this-
something that the IDK has put together.
I
as part of the
understand that.
request.
It's distracting.
I haven't
to
seen
the-
that.
What
If
is
we
it?
could move it, I mean, there's so much, space on that street, we could move it, that's all. It's,
I can talk to Scott about
okay,
that. and
it's
say
just really distracting to where the visitor center is. Takes away from the beauty.
So I think we closed out and there was no members of the public once again for the record.
Yeah.
So there's no public comment. On Zoom or in person, would you like to move on to the next item?
Yeah.
Which is item number 3, which is the consideration of the regular schedule of this committee.
Right, so the next meeting's in January, and I think we've all agreed Thursdays is the right day.
The first Thursday, right?
Yeah, first Thursday, but it's the time, right?
First
You brought up
It's the
about-
first Thursday.
Yes. I propose 10 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock, that's up to you guys. But I think Alexander is saying that he cannot do that, and you need to do it later. What was the time you come up with?
What's your,
I mean, school ends at about 3:50 for me, 3:45 varies, but anything or later. I mean, today it was just a couple minutes late just because my class went a little bit over, but that's, I mean, if,
what time do you start school?
I start school at 8:30, 8:45.
7 o'clock meetings are out of the question in the morning. You driving late at night or early in the morning? Okay, I just asked, okay, I get it.
If
I moved
something has to be decided, I don't want it all about me.
Well,
I can move on to other things.
And I can meet at any time, any day of the week, as long as it's not during that 8:30 to 4 o'clock time, any other time, as early as on a weekend.
This is tough.
This is tough.
Yeah.
I just think that we should have meetings anywhere from 9, 10, 11 in the morning.
Yeah,
We're all fresh, we're ready to go. By 4 or 5 o'clock, we've been working all day, doing stuff.
it's a challenge, Alexander, that, I don't know,
Barry has to drive over the pass and start. After you've been working in the hotel all day.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, my problem, but.
yeah, well, it's a,
So it's either, I would say either 10 o'clock or 4 o'clock. I just,
what did
I
you
prefer
say,
to do in the
Barry?
mornings.
10 o'clock or 4 o'clock?
10 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock.
Well, we could do the meetings
Because
in
you're
an
full,
hour
you're out by
like this.
6.
Yeah. So-
5:30, that's good.
Can you live with 4, Barry?
I can.
I mean, I could do that. I mean,
Is-
John,
Does that
you're,
work for you?
4 o'clock would be awesome. I would really appreciate that.
Tracy,
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I was just gonna say maybe 3:30 because we have to roll call the pledge and he's not gonna miss that much, but I guess.
Well, if we do it
Somewhere.
at 4, we're not gonna get out until 5:30 or so.
but
That's
3:30.
why I'm kinda,
Let's go 3:30 and then,
and he misses the pledge, he
Yeah.
misses the roll call. He does, that's
that's
like,
important stuff and all the
it's the most important
crap
stuff.
before you get to the meeting, so you could be here, you said 3:30, right? You get up 3:15,
Or 3:50.
3:50.
3:45, 50.
Not
Where are you
3:15.
driving?
I'm hearing 3:15.
Dunn School.
I'm hearing 3:15,
I can-
3:15 I was.
Well, then I'll make a motion, we do it at 3:30 on Thursday afternoons.
Okay, 3:30?
Yeah, and then he can get here and we can review what he's missed and, and we'll get it shortened as we can.
I mean, is it possible to do 4? I mean, I know it's 30 minutes, but it's 30 minutes that really allows me to be able to make the meeting. I know
Well, I mean, we're saying you come in late and you miss the non-important stuff like the pledge, which you do in the morning.
I move that we do the 3:30.
We're saying you get to miss the non-important stuff, like the pledge allegiance, the approval of the minutes, the approval.
And then you
Of
get
the
here when you
agenda.
do.
You'll be here for the meat.
You're here for the meat of the
You're
meeting.
not gonna get your
It takes you 10 minutes to get
Crackers
here.
and cheese.
if you
I
do it.
think this is what we should do. I think we have to, it's either 10 o'clock or it's 3:30. And Alexander, we love you to death. You have to make a decision if you want to carry on doing that, because I get it. But we have terrible schedules as well, and I work so long hours. And I just can't, I can't carry on doing that late. It just doesn't work for me.
So we have a motion out there at 3:30.
3:30, I make a motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, so it's first Thursday of each month at 3:30 PM
Yep.
is the motion and a second. And we'll go with roll call of Member Jensen,
Yes.
Member Beard,
Yes,
Member Henberg,
Yes.
Member Prescott,
Yes.
Member Martino,
Yes.
and Member Granger.
yes.
Okay,
What's
passes
that
6-0, so the new regular schedule of the meetings is the first Thursday of the month at 3:30 PM. The next regular meeting will take place on January 6th.
6th.
at
January
3:30
That's why.
PM.
And can we put an end time to this, or is that not allowed, or not?
you can.
You
Makes sense.
can,
I would say 5:30 the latest.
Right.
Yeah, 2
2
hours.
is
Yeah, that
more than
lasts
enough
for a
time.
We should be
minute.
able,
I hope
we
it's not
should be able to
6.
do that. We should be able to make that work every
Can that be
time.
part of our, is that a second motion?
And we can always do a special session if we can't get everything done.
And I would ask that for discussion purposes now that when we stack the agenda, we maybe stack the least important stuff. So that way we know we have a committee member coming in late,
Yes, that's a good point.
you know, so when we
I like
do it, we kinda filtrate it in that direction for him, so that way, cause I think this already, by the time everybody walks in the room, gets in, he's set up, it's, you know, and on the Zoom, it's already, 10 after 4, so it's already 3:45. So that kind of stuff is already done and out of the way, and,
We get to the meat
yeah.
of the bones here.
Okay.
And that way, he's not feeling like he's missing stuff. We're getting the protocols out of the way, and it's really, he knows how to say the pledge by now.
It's a good point.
He probably
All right.
knows it better than us.
You all right with that, Tom?
Yes, thank you, guys.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think that's the best,
Trying
to
to be
make
fair
a
for
good
everyone.
compromise in how we look at the agenda slightly differently, and maybe you and Barry work on it, since he's the chair, more together.
Sure, we can work on that, and that's reasonable. We can put the easy items to the front, and then anything that's.
There's easy items.
they're all gonna be easy, no problem.
Wrong
Wrong
adjective,
adjective.
wrong adjective.
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
No, for that.
Are you kidding me?
I
You're
have,
welcome.
Go, Tracy.
I have to leave.
All right, Any committee member comments?
No, I think, not for me, I mean, this is a special, really, I think I've said enough.
Yeah, the only thing I wanted to comment on, I did go to the tree lighting on Friday night, and I thought it was very well done. They had seating, plenty of seating out there, the lighting was awesome, and I bet they had to have over 500 people. Do you know what the attendance was?
I do not.
I went past.
Warren County?
It was
a lot.
packed.
I might even maybe speculated, were you there?
I wasn't at the tree lighting.
Were you?
Yes.
What do you think was there?
I just got there at the very beginning. I was there at the very beginning.
Be interesting to know how many seats they
Yeah,
set up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be one.
Oh, I liked the way the seats were set up and everything, and just everybody was having a good time. The music was great, and the gazebo it looked the best I've ever seen it look. They
It was
really,
beautiful.
I've
Yeah.
never
They
seen it
killed it.
that well decorated.
There was a line for Christmas
Hats
and
off
Santa
to
Claus
Scott.
all
Yeah,
day.
it was well done.
And then-
Well done.
And then the next day, they had a lot of action in the park, with people taking pictures with Santa and everything.
It's been busy the whole time.
Yeah,
And
it
it
was
looks
a great
fantastic.
weekend, it really was. So I wanted to comment on that. And, you know, I had family here for 2 weeks over Thanksgiving. And, you know, I've come to the conclusion, Solvang is really a new foodie destination. We've got more and more, we've become more and more a restaurant destination. You know, we got some good restaurants here in town.
Yeah.
And we
It's
ate
a
out all the
shoe
time, and I was
destination.
just amazed.
What are you talking about? It's a shoe destination.
It's a what destination?
Shoe destination.
Shoe,
A shoe destination.
Well, you have to have shoes.
where they
don't
buy
you?
their
Yeah.
shoes, damn it.
But you
my
know what,
language.
I just think that we've got to start marketing that as a foodie destination, because, you know, we got Coast Range now, it's been written up in Wall Street Journal. We've got Sears, had dinner there, it was great.
Sears.
Steakhouse.
They closed Sears and Field, didn't they?
Max, you're funny. But anyway, just that's my comment on it. I
This
just
town,
wanted
this
to-
town has got a lot going for it, and
What's that?
I think IDK's done a good job, really good.
They have, and I think I wanted to tell Scott that, but I didn't get a chance to.
He will be back with you, I'm sure, not too long from now for another report.
And I did notice that we had 2 buses in here on Saturday.
That, let's see, who called me on that? Oh, I think Tracy
Yeah.
called me and said that those were ladies, buses from Orange County.
Yeah,
They came up and they wanted to make
They
sure
were.
that the bus parking was open behind
Yeah.
us, so, and it was.
Which was good.
Yeah,
They're like doing clothes shopping, I think.
Oh.
I think it was a women's group, but I'm not sure.
yes, there was women and men. I stopped back there and saw them getting
Yeah.
them off. There was
They
shoe
buy your
bags
shoes?
galore. Everybody does. Any comment from,
Wait, I have something to
Oh,
say.
sorry.
Jeez Louise.
Oh.
Holy cow.
Got 2
I
minutes.
just want to say that, with what we're doing right now, second quarter, and maybe third or fourth, if we can do something in which people, I mean, right now, people love coming to the chocolate factory, I'm letting them make chocolate molds and trees and stuff, and we could do that with bread, pastries, whatever the people are doing in this town, and try to do it outdoors. I think there's something to be said that I want everyone to get an experience, not just that they walk through the place, but if we can do, whatever that item or whatever we're doing, if they come in, they have an experience. So whatever it is, we need to.
everybody
make
wants
that-
an experience
Yeah,
nowadays.
they do, and they just wanna have a, you know, see how something is made or looks like and how it's eaten. So anyways, that's all I want to say.
Alexander had something.
Yeah, that reminds me, I was in Solvang for a friend of mine had a birthday party in Solvang. They did a scavenger hunt. It was a lot of fun. They created the scavenger hunt themselves, but a lot of friends from my school, we came to Solvang. We stopped at different shops and different restaurants. So we spend money at businesses while having a fun experience in Solvang. I don't know if that's something, it's something I'd like to talk about in the future, is actually creating a formal scavenger hunt for Solvang. I don't know if that's something we do with IDK or some other group, but something on the internet, something on an app, because it's a really fun activity, something that gets young
All
people
ages.
out.
All
So,
ages.
Yeah.
Yeah, all ages, families. You can even have different scavenger hunts based on the age group, but scavenger
That
hunts
may
are
tie
really
into
fun.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
You know, as they come up, do the scavenger hunt and, you know, do some presentations, you know.
Yeah, I just think there's something
The old
there.
days,
It just gets them to see all parts of the town too. I just think
Yeah.
scavenger That's important, because sometimes in the past it's been slanted, one side gets more than the other. It's not, that's not true, but we want to make sure that we visually tell them that there's two sides of this town.
And Scott has worked that into the Nissan deal.
Yeah.
That's part of
Yeah.
Christmas. I mean, they do that. I mean, it's not our first gig
Yeah.
like that. They do that every year. So, I mean, that's something we can incorporate earlier
Yeah.
to make a big event, get people to come and stay at a hotel and do
You know what else
an
really
overnight
works,
scavenge
especially in the winter?
throughout the valley.
Ice carving. Ice
That
carving
would be,
contest.
oh my gosh, we
People
got
love
some
those.
artists coming in.
They do it at the National Restaurant Show in Chicago. They've done it for years. My chef used to do it. And, you know, you can they can carve things, solving. And the chainsaws and just people get absolutely love
the
it.
chainsaw.
And you got ice going all over the place.
Well,
That
I
would
can
be-
tell you,
IDK would love to.
chainsaws are not popular because we have them at Danish Days, carving bears and stuff. The chainsaw, wherever we put it, it's always, but
Oh,
it
right.
brings people to watch.
Yes.
But the people around it, the
Yeah.
businesses, but that's not
Ice
something
is
that can't work.
clean, ice is clean,
It
with
was,
Yeah.
there's more than noise, but yeah, I get it.
But in the park, you know.
Yeah.
there's something there.
All right, we'll tell IDK then.
Okay.
If I can make just one stop comment, it's really great to have this committee and look forward to, this committee can really focus on the marketing, which we haven't had that connection with the community that we have now with you. So really look forward to working through the future of the marketing beyond just today's discussion in the next 6 months as well. Just kind of getting back to a little bit of what we talked about in the beginning of the meeting, it's important, this committee is the advisory committee and really oversees the marketing efforts, which is then advised for the city council. We want to make sure that when it comes to working with staff and contractors, that this committee definitely creates its direction for us during these meetings. Obviously, you can have some conversations with us offline, make certain comments, but whenever it comes to decision making, we really need to be here with you and hear from the whole body. So just appreciate that.
On that, Zena, and it's probably Scott's fault, but I would like this a little bit sooner, the budget thing, than right now. I didn't have a chance to sit and read your staff. I got through your staff report as quickly as I could and looked. And I know that probably has to do with Scott, but we need to push Scott into getting those just out at least a day
My
ahead
note
so
came
we
at
can look at it.
2:55 on email.
Oh, did this come to the email? I didn't see it.
I did send them
Okay, I
emails,
didn't
so
see
I
it,
posted
sorry.
it online, but yes, it just became available
Yeah,
today.
and I
So
thank
So
you, but
we-
I
yeah.
just wanted to, like, I'd hardly had time.
Right, it's Scott, and it probably
That's
has
all.
to do with Scott to some degree on that too, but.
And he's gonna be more open.
I know, I think you're
Right.
right.
Yeah, for most committees, we always target at least about a week in advance, so we'll work
Oh.
on that schedule
Yeah.
and try to get.
I'd forget it by then, just a day in advance.
A few days in advance, also.
So, okay,
Thank you.
Perfect.
call this meeting.
Yes, it's adjourned.
All right, well, look at that,
Thank
an
you.
hour.
Thank you.